Marxist art and the socialist art coming into being, what happens is the poor are told it's not your fault. You have no responsibility for being poor. That is really visceral hatred for the poor, because the moment you say to an entire group of human beings, there's nothing you can do, you're not responsible, it is literally a drug. I bet you if it's ever studied, it will work. Those arguments, those perspectives, work on the bad conscience of the poor exactly the same way that heroin or sugar works on the brain of everyone. And so when you say to an entire group of people, whether they're blacks or Hispanics or poor people or whatever, right? And you say, it's not your fault. Not your fault. Nothing you can do. It's not your fault. What happens is they get this immediate relief. Oh, whoo, oh, thank goodness, right? Oh, I feel so much better. And then it's like this honey that flows over them, like this slow tidal wave of gooey stickiness. And they're like, oh man, that tastes great. Oh, things are a little cloudy out there, but I'm in a honey bubble. I love it. It's so smooth. No wind, no cold, no rain, no sight. And then this sticky resin amber flows over the poor. It's not your fault, man. It's a system. You can't do anything about it. It's rigged. You're never going to get out. Oh, thank goodness. I don't have to work. I don't have to challenge my social environment. I don't have to become more functional. I don't have to learn skills. I don't have to rise up. If you rise up from the poor, bam, man, they'll smack you down almost every time. Just try and rise up from the poor. They'll claw you down. They'll pull you back down. They'll bring all the hatreds and, oh, you're just better than us. You think you're just so great. Oh, we're not good enough for you. And pull you down. You don't have to go through that battle like it's trying to, you're like a narwhal of opportunity trying to break through the ice of lower class hatreds. And then the sticky resin folds over these people and they feel this great relief and they're cut off from the elements. But what happens is it's sticky, it's sweet, it's great, but it hardens. It hardens and it's sticky and it's sweet and it's great and it's comfortable and it's warm and it's secure and it's familiar, and slowly you just can't move. It slows you down. It hardens. And then you are stuck. And this hatred of the poor that is engendered, a hatred of any group from which you strip free will, is horrifying. It is a drug. And the socialist artists are literally drug dealers. They are giving the endorphins of no responsibility through words to the poor. They're like those skeevy guys on street corners like, hey man, you feeling bad about your life? Hey, I got some determinism right here, man. Right here. Oh man, this is the good stuff. Man, this is the good stuff. It's got lots of syllables. It goes all the way back to the Greeks. It's beautiful, man. Okay, listen, I'll tell you what, man. You think you're going for a job interview? Let me tell you what this stuff is going to tell you. It's beautiful. This stuff is going to tell you that the job interview is rigged. It's a game. It's going to go to some friend. It's going to go to some rich, fat cat. You ain't got a chance. This is what this stuff's going to do. You put your little teaspoon up your nose, man, and all your problems are going to go away. You don't need to strive for anything anymore. Everything's rigged. All the rich guys got there because they got connections or they were born rich, and now no one ever gets out of this neighborhood. There's this giant invisible leash fence, like those dog collars with the zap that keep you around a particular thing. Well, you were born in this neighborhood, man, and this drug, put it up your nose, it's going to reveal, it's going to tell you, it's going to show you this little dog collar. You can't chew it off, you can't pull it off, you can't break it off. And the only way you get it off is by taking your own head off, man. This thing's going to reveal to you, you're born here. You get to go maybe 500, 550, 575 yards away from where you were born. You go any further, away or up or out, it's going to reveal to you that there are these cats, these fat cats, man. They got monocles. They got really, really, really close shaves. I don't know how they do it. It's freaky. I don't know how to do it with fire, with napalm, butterfly wings. I don't know. They get great shaves. And they got these suits. I mean, these suits that look like they're made out of like finely ground up testicles of the poor people. These suits that shimmer. They're like force fields. They walk around. They got these ties, man. I don't know how they do it, but they tie these ties. They don't wobble. They just stick there. They got these close shaves. They got these these haircuts that look like they're made by laser helmets. They got shoes so bright that they're getting like laser light reflections up their nostrils every time they walk around. Those guys get out, and those are the guys who got all the money. They're never going to open it up to something like someone like you. It's never going to happen, not in a million years. They come and say, oh, can I get a job, sir? And you're on your knees and you're begging and you're crying out, and please give me a little something, like, bleh, they spit on you. And then what they do is they say, well, maybe we'll give you a little something, a little taste. You know, like when you're cruel with an animal that's starving and you give it just a tiny little mouthful so it gets its hopes up. Oh man, and they're gonna just throw you a scrap or two, and I throw you a scrap or two in this drug, put it up your nose, man, it's gonna reveal. Now this drug is made of ink, man. It's made of ink and it's letters. And it's kind of weird. It's like, you ever see those things, man, where they're like these pictures and they're 3D, but you got to stare at them for a while. You got to let your mind go to some like Pink Floyd place, like Shine On, You Crazy Diamond, to picture you. And you got to look at this thing, let your mind go, let your brain relax, let your eyes relax, get all flaccid, like they're going to go Roger Rabbit flaccid, drip down your cheeks, man. And look at this, these letters, and these letters will swirl and they'll go around you like a bunch of bees, and they'll remind you of the dog collar, and they'll remind you that all you'll ever get to do in this life is beg from scraps from people who never had to beg for anything. Everyone's born into what they got. You born into what you got. Never the twain shall meet. There's no other side of the tracks, man. There's no other tracks. There's just this. This is our world. This is the whole planet. This drug is going to blow your mind. It's going to show you that you are in a tiny biodome of history and nobody ever gets out. And the only way to be happy is to relax back and understand that and realize that there's no escape from this trap. You're not even caught in a bear trap, man. You are the bear trap. You're catching other people just like I'm catching you. We got these nice socialist writers. You grind this shit up, snort it off a table, snort it off a hooker's ass, snort it off a mirror. We don't care, man. As long as you just don't ever think that you can get out of here, man. Because the moment we see some wily coyote, some fucking wily coyote outline in this biosphere, the whole gig is blown. The whole gig is blown. And let me tell you one last thing. You're going to get really frustrated, man. You're going to really frustrated. Every now and then you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, man, I should not be addicted to this socialist literature. I should not be snorting this leftist literature, man. It's really sapping me of the will to live. It's really telling me there's nothing I can do. I try climbing up this ladder. There are no fucking rungs. The sides just fall down either side, like some hooker's leg upside down in a club. There's just falls all over. You're going to wake up and you're going to freak out and you're going to panic and you be like, oh my God, my life is slipping me by. I've got to get something done. And then you know what's going to happen? Shit's going to come into your head, man, and it's going to be scary and it's going to be bad and this shit's going to come into your head. And you know what it's going to be? It's going to be, hey man, wasn't there some guy who did get out? Wasn't there some guy, God, what was his name? Some guy, he got up early and he read some books. And I'm not talking like walk-through guides for trying 3. I'm talking like he read some books, right? And he had like bookmarks and he had like highlighters and shit like that. He got up early, he read some books. He thought, he asked questions. He went to the public library. He put on some headphones that he found in the garbage. He put them in and he used to listen to lectures. He used to ask questions. He wrote stuff, like he actually wrote shit down, like by hand. I didn't even know you could do that. I thought that was just some weird font, or maybe people got really drunk and put crayons up their ass and squatted and danced around and shit like that. But this guy got up early, he worked, he read, he taught himself shit. He taught himself how to like program a computer. Like they don't, turns out, do you know this? They don't even come like that. You got to make computers do stuff. They don't just do it by themselves. We're deterministic, but computers can be changed. So you're going to wake up and you're going to think about a guy who got out, or some woman who thought straight and used birth control. I hear you can do that. And she didn't take any of this social literature. She didn't snort any of this shit. And she got out too. And you know what? You're going to start to, wake up in the middle of the night and you're going to go, maybe this is just a scam. Maybe I'm not trapped. Maybe I'm only trapped by thinking that I'm trapped. Maybe the only cage is in my mind and I can walk wherever I want. And maybe I got something to offer the world outside of this, but I got to stop doing this stupid shit. I got to stop thinking I'm a musician because I listen to music. And I got to stop thinking that I'm a sportsman because I play video games. And I got to stop thinking that I'm achieving something because I got to a new level. I got to actually start doing shit for real. I got to find out what's needed in the world. I got to find out a way to align myself with what's needed. I got to find out a way to make myself valuable to other people in the world. And you're going to get these kinds of crazy thoughts. You're going to get these kinds of crazy thoughts. And that's what this stuff is for, man. When you get those kinds of crazy thoughts that maybe, just maybe, this is all a scam. Maybe people are just lying to you to keep you down. I don't know, maybe the rich people don't want you competing with them because you can charge a whole lot less than they do because you got a few fucking less yachts to maintain. Maybe you can just compete, and that's why you're being told to stay down here in the gutter and only worry about economic determinism. So you're going to wake up in the middle of the night, and that's when you got to call me, man. I'm going to give you a little burner, speed dial. It's got one button. Call this guy, because I am a socialist librarian of infinite hookery, man. And once I got my hooks into you, when you freak out, I'll be right there. I'll just appear, man, and I'll say, hey, this is part of the torture. This is you rattling the cage. It don't make the cage go away. It just reminds you. It just reminds you that you got in the cage and there's no way out. So don't rattle the cage, man. You walk around everywhere, but don't touch the cage bars, and you can feel like you're free. But once you start rattling those cage bars, they're all over you, man, and you freak out and you want to get free and you want to get out of there, and you think maybe you can. And then we've got another movie for you. Oh man, we got more movies for you than you can shake a stick at. And in those movies, let me tell you, the cool guys are the guys who are just like kind of blasé, and they don't give much of a shit, and they do a lot of drugs. And those guys would be all over the place in your movies. You know, maybe some of them would be Seth Rogen, some of them would be Adam Sandler, so it'd be someone, right? And these guys, they're like kind of cool. And all the guys who want to try and achieve something, they're all nerds and they're all keeners. And the jocks who get up early and exercise to fight off, you know, lassitude, laziness, and maybe even depression, those guys are like really anal, and they're really nasty, and they're really mean. And we'll just surround you again with all the reality of things. Anytime you get this impulse and this urge, starting gun, go, man. Doesn't matter if you're late, just go do something. We'll be right there. We'll give you stoner music where all the successful people are assholes. And we'll give you stoner movies where all the successful people are assholes, and all the people who exercise and all the people who get up early are squares and mean, and they're like, give me your TPS reports, man, because those guys, they're all out there making movies. They're all up there getting up early and getting things done, but they don't want you to do that because they want to have all the money. So we'll just come back and we'll remind you of all this stuff. You don't have to worry about a thing. And we'll just soothe you back down, right? It's like this just big back rub. We rub your back, we take your spine. That's the deal. But you got to start with this socialist literature that has you hate people, right? That's the key component. See, you're going to wake up and you're going to freak the fuck out. You're going to panic because your life is slipping you by and you're in the grip of socialist drug paradise underlords. And you know what we're going to feed you is that you really hate us. You hate your life. You hate your history. You hate your circumstances. You hate your surroundings. But what we're going to do is say the best way to stay with us is the really hard stuff. The really, really hard stuff. Like, this is only emergency, like 3 a.m. You're about to change your life for the better shit. We're going to come in. You know what we're going to feed you? Oh, yeah. You ready? Hate the successful. Hate the successful. Oh, God, it's so easy. It's so easy. Make the successful people your devil. Say that all the success people are like, oh man, this is some kind of leave it to beaver bullshit. It's all this, oh, you got to get up early. Oh, that's not cool, man. Sleep in, live a little, stay up late, party, have some fun, man. You just can't have any fun. You're too uptight, man. You just got to hate on the successful. And that is the last little click of the last little bar going in that cell. Because if we can get you to hate the successful, anytime you have an impulse for success yourself, you're going to hate yourself. You're going to hate anything which can get you out of this cage. You're going to hate any escalator that can take you out of this underworld. You're going to hate any jetpack that can rise you out of this hell itself. But you just start with a little of this stuff, man. Snort a little Upton Sinclair. I mean, yeah, okay, everything he wrote was a lie, was complete bullshit, but who cares, man? It fits. It fits. It doesn't matter if it's a lock that you open that leads to a door off a cliff down to the center of the earth. The key fits. Doesn't matter if it leads nowhere. But just start with this stuff, man. Snort a little bit of this. You'll be ours for life. So that's the kind of stuff I think that goes on with the socialist literature. A whole bunch of stuff has to be there ahead of time. But imagine this right now. Imagine, just imagine this, Nate. Imagine writing a novel or a movie or whatever where the rich guys were all really wise and smart and considerate and humane. And the poor people were all selfish, greedy, irresponsible assholes. Imagine that. What do you think would happen?
There'd probably be riots in the streets.
Well, people would just think you were insane. Because the poor have become a protected class, which means they've become subhuman pawns of endless propaganda. So because you can write a book where all the poor people are noble and all the rich people are assholes, right? Because that fits into a template. That's the way that the human zoo is maintained, is to get people to resent success and to get them to feel that they have no chance, that it's all economic determinism. Of course, if it was economic determinism, you couldn't hate the successful. Right? I mean, it's not like the tall guy didn't steal my height, right? It's just the way the genetics are. The height is largely determined by genetics, right? So for sure, I mean, there may be a certain amount of resentment, but everyone would recognize that it was irrational. You couldn't have an entire art system founded upon all the tall guys being asshole and all the short guys being heroes. That would be ridiculous, right? And like I've gone bald, but nobody stole my hair. I mean, there are guys who've got great hair out there. More power to them. I hope that they get hit by lightning in, ways that only enhance their hairdos. But can you imagine just if you put a movie together where the smart and good and wise and noble people were all middle class or wealthy, and the poor were all just assholes, and anyone who tried to rise out of being poor was just clawed down by jerks around them? I mean, imagine that. People would it literally would short circuit their brains. You'd never get the movie made. Nobody would ever work on it. And if you did somehow have enough billions of dollars to get the movie made and get good actors in it and get it distributed, can you imagine what kind of reviews it would get?